What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping back into the dawn of DC with Superman issue number 8. What we had just recently seen is a secret weapon of Lex Luthor, referred to as the Chained. This is Sammy Striker. We have learned that he has tactile telekinesis. Much like Connor, Lex had done something to him, imprisoned him for some reason, but we don't know that reason just of yet. What we do know is that Sammy Striker is free. He has been giving Superman one heck of a fight. And then Graft and Dr. Pharma, these two come up to him in the sky above Metropolis, and they are asking for a team up. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up in the past. We are picking up with young Sammy Striker. He is learning that he has tactile telekinesis. He is learning exactly what this is and what this means. That if anything he comes in contact with, he would be able to manipulate. Even the molecules in the air. This would mean that he is connected to everything. That with practice, he might be able to expand this force field aura, expand it further and further out, and maybe even manipulate reality. And he wouldn't have to touch anything at all. As he comes to this realization, behind the glass wall, that is where we have Lex Luthor. We have Mr. Stryker. They are all talking about how magnificent this is, how groundbreaking this work is. They have turned a boy into a metahuman. They have plans to share this with Cadmus. Lex Luthor created something truly magnificent, thinking to themselves, imagine what Sammy could do with this kind of power. That's what picks us up in present day. Sammy Striker now having a conversation with Dr. Pharma and Mr. Graff. They are letting him know that we have a common enemy. That is Lex Luthor. He locked you up for years, and in that time, Lex finally showed his true colors, revealed himself as a villain to the world. This is where they show him everything. They show a history lesson on Lex Luthor and what he has done over all of these years. While he watches, the super family is regrouping. Connor is letting them know that his powers, they are very similar to his own. That when him and Sammy were fighting, he felt a connection. He has tactile telekinesis, but much stronger. Asking Superman how this is even possible. Superman thinks that he knows the answer, but he's afraid of it. Telling Connor to take off with him, they head to Stryker's Island. They head over to Lex Luthor. He tells Lex to tell me everything you know about who the Chained really is. This is when Lex goes on to say that his name is Sammy Striker. His father created the very penitentiary that they stand in now. As they have figured out, Sammy is incredibly powerful. He tells Superman that you have one option, and you know what that is. Superman, of course, believing that there is another way, but paying attention to his surroundings, this is where Superman, he sees Lex Luthor's mother. Asking Lois what the heck is going on, Lois says that this is all a surprise to me. She came here to talk to Lex Luthor, and it ended up being a Luthor family reunion. But just in that moment, there is a giant boom. The walls come crumbling down. The chains wrap up both Connor and Superman, and Lex's daughter begins to float, with Sammy Striker bringing her in close, seeing that this is in fact Lex's daughter. When the guards come in ready to shoot him up, with the flick of his wrist, Sammy is able to turn these guys into tin cans. He smashes them up and crumples them like they're nothing more than paper, as Lex Luthor begs for his daughter's life. This is where Superman tells Connor now. The two of them, using all of their power, they rush out of the building, dragging the chain behind them. Lex Luthor catching his daughter, but his daughter wants nothing to do with him. With Connor and Superman flying as far and as fast as they can, they're getting some distance. When Sammy tells them to stop, that is exactly what they do. And in stopping, we see these chains break. As they get ready to fight, Lex Luthor says that there are things you need to know. He didn't lock this kid up away because of his powers. He did it because Sammy killed his father. he killed Sebastian Stryker. And Lex will admit that perhaps he made a mistake in locking up this kid the way he did, but at the time he felt like he had no other choice. We saw what he did to the guards. Lex believes him to be a monster, but of course there is more. Superboy Connor Kent, the clone. He is a bit of Lex Luthor. He is a bit of Superman, but his powers came from Sammy. Cadmus used his research and telekinesis to replicate the powers as best they could, but Superboy's powers are just a fraction of what Sammy can do. Asking how he was stopped before, Lex says that it was dangerous, but he built in a weakness. Certain elements can get past his force field. Fire, ice, but he needed something stronger. An element that he found in Smallville. As Superman is thrown to the ground, a chain around Lex Luthor's throat. Sammy has come for Lex Luthor, come to end his life. As Lex fights for air, begging for Superman to save his life, this is where Superman comes in his armored kryptonite suit. Because kryptonite is the element that Lex Luthor made as the weakness for Sammy. This is when Sammy, furious that Superman is defending Lex, he begins to pummel away on Superman's face, wondering why he would risk his life for someone like Lex Luthor. And Superman says that he risked his life for everybody. Punching Sammy, we see the kryptonite is breaking away on the fists. A giant crater in the ground. With both of them being exposed to the kryptonite, they are slowly being depowered. Superman is saying that if we don't get out of here, if we don't figure this out, both of us are going to die. As Sammy begins to try and crush the bones of Superman, using his tactile telekinesis. He tells Superman to just quit and let me kill him. Then all of this can end, with him saying that you can't beat me. Superman says that he doesn't have to. He was just stalling for time. This is where Connor comes in with that helmet, smashes it on top of Sammy's head, and all the ropes deploy. They wrap up Sammy that quickly. This was Lex Luthor's plan. This is how he caught him the first time. But even with him being caught, Superman is stuck in all the rubble. That kryptonite suit that he was wearing had a heavy effect on him, with the shattered pieces of kryptonite surrounding his body. We see the kryptonite making its way into the bloodstream of Superman. In a weakened, almost dead state, Superman says that I did it. I saved Lex Luthor. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely not a bad issue. I have thoroughly been enjoying this Superman run. The idea of the chained, this is where Connor getting his powers really comes from. It's all really great. I love the addition to kind of Connor's story, if you will. But it's more than that. It's the story of Lex. It's the story of Superman. It's the story of all these individuals coming into play. Things that they did years ago, now coming back to haunt them. But this also shows how far Superman is willing to go to save people's lives, even if it is the life of Lex Luthor. But we are seeing some interesting development with Lex Luthor's character. He's moving away from hating Superman so much, he's gotten to the point where he is willing to work with Superman. Now, this might just be because all of Lex Luthor's enemies are now gunning for him. But regardless of the why, right now, Lex Luthor is working side by side with Superman, even transferring over all of LexCorp to Superman. Is this one giant scheme, or is this just Lex Luthor really trying to turn over a new leaf? After all of these years, can he truly be trusted? Can he ever be trusted? Because Lex Luthor could be playing the long con. He could go on for 20 years pretending to be the ally of Superman, only to turn on Superman, waiting all of this time to take him down. Lex Luthor is diabolical, but he is a patient man. He would wait as long as it takes, as long as it is needed, to take down someone like Superman. So is he playing the long con? Or is this a new Lex Luthor trying to start over fresh? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get caught up on everything going on with Superman, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is gonna get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.